There are a lot of people that are too ill to stay at home and need extra support that cannot be given by a GP alone. Patients have needs that are beyond the medical, they're nursing and social, and we need to support that without giving up on them so that they go into hospital, and an extra service was needed, and that's where the virtual ward came from. The fact that there's more services to provide things at home improves the way that care is delivered, and it means that unnecessary hospital spells are avoided. And going to hospital for somebody in their 80s is traumatic, and it's not necessarily medically beneficial. If you're taken for an illness that doesn't need to be there and put in hospital, you can actually do worse than if you stay at home.
My name's Louise Mulford, I'm a community matron in Clacton. We can actually get in, do a thorough assessment with the patient and provide the necessary treatment and prescribe if we need to. I've known Marjorie for a year now, and she's been a regular on the community virtual ward. I think in the last year, I think we've had about 8 or 9 interventions, which predominantly means we've actually prevented her going into hospital because of her complex conditions. When she has exacerbations, we're able to get in quite quickly. Marjorie has caused a few scares over the last year. We've had to get in quite quickly and provide some antibiotics and steroid treatment. 2 weeks ago, Marjorie, when you were really poorly and you had a nasty chest infection, you couldn't complete a sentence, could you?
Oh no, dear.
You were really struggling, weren't you?
Yes. When I've got she takes me blood and takes me chest, and if it's pumping or it's going the other way, she puts me on biotics, and after a little while they start taking effect. Well, if I hadn't got this help to look after me, I'd have to go in a home. I'm too well to go in a hospital, so I'd have to go in a home, which I don't want to go because it's so lonely.
When we first came into Marjorie, which was about a year ago, there was no care support at all, and the family were coping quite well with Marjorie, but because her condition worsened, we needed to get support in quickly, so we were able to, through social services, get care in twice a day, which provided the personal care and enabled Marjorie to still get up during the day, still do her activities.
They make arrangements with the carers that they'll be there at a certain time. Like the other night when we came back from the wedding, it was about 10 o'clock, and the carer came down and undressed me at that time of night, when you think she would be in bed.
The pilot started last January the 17th, we started the community virtual ward. Marjorie has been admitted onto the ward and discharged off the ward in about 7 or 8 times in the past year. So she's one of our regulars, but in that time she's not had one admission into hospital. So to us that is a success, and I think without our intervention she would likely have gone into hospital or maybe not be here today.
It was times I was very low, like, you know, and I've almost said, oh, well, I'll walk off the end of the pier or something like that, you know what I mean? That's how it gets you, like, and that's something that I would never even have thought of. When I collapsed before, Bruce took me up to Colchester Hospital, and they wanted to keep me in, and I said, I'm very sorry, I can't stop in because my wife's Alzheimer's, and I said, there's nobody. I said, Bruce would have popped in and married, but they couldn't do it without work and the things, so you don't know what's going to happen.
And then 3 weeks ago, he had 4 falls over the weekend. Ambulances were called because he had this button on him. We heard him a couple of times. But then the ambulance took him to hospital on the last occasion because his blood sugar level was very, very high. I followed up there after him because hopefully he had to come home because of Joan.
Oh, I will be terrible.
But The ambulance personnel obviously really started the ball rolling. Louise got involved, and it just absolutely snowballed from there. It's been very, very quick.
I think when we first came in and done the joint assessment, I think through both interviewing the service users, we actually highlighted so many different people that needed to be involved in this case to actually keep the two of them together.
First instance, I initiated the key safe, so that was Swan Housing coming in and doing that piece of work.
That was within 2 hours.
That was within 2 hours of us leaving here. They were in fitting that. The care started 3 days later with TLC, coming 3 times a day.
Sure, what was the reading again, John?
8.4.
I think we had to involve the GP in a medication review because John's medication was just completely haywire. He wasn't taking his medication appropriately. So that then led on to a referral to the pharmacist to then have a look at the medication to try and get blister packs in. We've had falls prevention came in within 24 hours to bring in equipment to stop John falling over. That was another intervention.
They had the financial assessment come in to discuss the costing of the care package and to advise them on benefits they actually weren't claiming and were actually entitled to claim. So they've actually got more money in their pocket than they did have coming in.
There was hospital appointments as well that both John and Joan had, which both of them, because of the situation, couldn't attend. So we had to speak to various consultants, rearrange appointments. There was John desperately needed an eye test. We've managed to sort that out, and they're going to do a domiciliary visit as well. So that's something else that we've actually had to. We didn't have to, but we've actually incorporated into our holistic care. So
and the diabetic specialist
nurse is coming in to review as well. So we've I think we worked it out. There's about 10 different agencies, services that we've included. There's so many people we can bring in with a voluntary service. There's so many other resources out there that we can use.
He's really good, really, really good. I mean, recommend it to anybody.
When a patient needs more services than a GP alone can offer and is at risk of going into hospital for a non-medical reason, because maybe they can't cope, because there are nursing needs or social needs, this is the backup service that the GP can call on. Also, the virtual ward is about finding high-risk patients before they get ill enough to go into hospital, so it's a case-finding thing as well.
In Phyllis Barton's situation, she's got lots of chronic diseases, type 2 diabetes, for instance, atrial fibrillation, for instance. The fact that the community matron could go in, they could actually check her blood sugar for her. If they feel that there's any problem, they will help her in that perspective. If they feel that they check her pulse, they feel that she's too short of breath, then they call, they liaise with the GP surgery.
Unless you've been on it, you don't understand, what a difference it does make, and it really does make a difference.
Phyllis was one of our first clients that came onto the caseload for the virtual ward.
I feel safe knowing that they're coming into me and that I can phone them. I can't get to the doctors on my own, and I've only got to phone them. They do the doctoring and everything for me.
And it really was only after a couple of months of her being on the virtual ward, I'd come in one day just to do an assessment with Tracy, because Phyllis had been asking for some help with some housework at the time. So myself and Tracy came in this day, only to find that Phyllis was extremely poorly. I'd taken to her bed, she'd got a nasty chest infection. So within a matter of 2 hours, it was coordinating care. So she had somebody coming in for personal care. We arranged a private care company, or Tracy did. I contacted the surgery because at the time we needed urgent antibiotics and oxygen. We contacted Tendering Home Improvements because Phyllis wasn't able to get up out of bed to answer the door. So within half an hour of contacting them, they had arrived and put a key safe in place. 2 hours, within 4 hours, sorry, oxygen had arrived. The antibiotics had been ordered and they were being delivered by the chemist. And care started that evening. And I think we've done that in the matter of, it was less than, yeah, it could have been an hour.
And a bit.
Yeah.
Did all that between us.
Yeah.
Coming onto the virtual ward and being able to act as quickly and as promptly as I can now and getting care in pretty much that day, if not the next day, it's a huge difference. Yeah, it gives me great satisfaction to be able to come out with the matron, put together the solutions we're going to put together and act on them like I can.
Message in a bottle, I think it's mainly to say what is all wrong with me and where to get in touch with anybody if need be. It's just there if I can't say anything and they come in to me and then they know there is a message in the fridge that they can go to and find out what anything about me they need to know.
To get these on board with the Lions Club, we linked in with them through the voluntary services, and they provided some funding for the message in a bottle specifically for virtual ward patients.
If the telephone contact number for the community matron is in the message in a bottle, that's good. And I think the biggest thing is about expectation from the patients that they will not necessarily be taken to hospital when an ambulance arrives. We see that as our kind of last chance saloon for a patient. We'd actually rather keep them at home.
I do feel safer knowing that I'm on the virtual ward, that there's always someone there for me.
We've been able to reduce the number of appointments. We've been able as well to reduce the number of home visits that we do, and we've been able to keep our emergency admission down through the virtual ward.
It seems difficult to me that a few years ago I didn't have a community matron to do these things and the social work support. I can't actually remember what I did before. I suspect I sent a lot more people into hospital beds for things that perhaps they didn't need to be in hospital for.
We want people to be able to be treated in their home, right place, right time, by the right people.
I couldn't do without them now. I couldn't do without them.